Hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to Trending with Shella. Trending with Shella.
So it's actually made digital vision board where they actually input in information online so they can have it. There you go, Nikki sharing our digital vision board. And for those of us who are here, I know I've heard from different persons how it has been, for some person, Nikki was at what their first experience of doing a vision board, and they really like the idea, and I've seen where it is making a difference for them, actually making a plan and writing it down. For me, I've always done vision board. I've always take the time to think about my year, think about what it is that I want to achieve and write it down. The Bible, Habakkuk tells us that we should write the vision and make it plain. So everything that there is for life and godliness is actually in the Bible. The Bible said, write the vision and make it plain, that they who see it will run. And it also said that though the vision tarries, wait for it. It means that sometimes we write down things and it may not be accomplished in the time that but we want to ensure we write down, put God on our, trust him that he will make it happen. So we did our vision board. It was so great. I don't know. I know I've seen Adisha online. She was there. I don't know if she wants to open up more mic and share her experience doing vision board and how it is that it has been for her since she have done it. So I want her to share. I know Camille and Tamisha was here as well. And don't know if Nikki, you want to share as well on the vision board that I've created and seen it. But if it is that you did it and you have not yet activated it, no, this is what we're about tonight for you. We write it down. We put the vision together, but no one to activate it because it makes no sense. We write it down and it's just there sitting down. So for me, Nikki, I actually did my vision board, and it wasn't actually 4 segments. It was spiritual, health wise, financial, and also emotional. So I had those 4 pointers, and I wrote down at some things. And interestingly, I've seen, something you write it down, you probably don't pen it because you don't look on the vision board like every day. And just the thing just happen. I said, but I will look back and say, but I had this on my vision board. Because sometimes you write on the vision board, you may not look on it every day, but in writing, it's actually cemented in your thoughts. So it begins to happen without you even realize it. So vision board is real, trenders. It's real. I think it was Steve Harvey that says, if you don't write it down, chances are it won't happen. It won't happen. And a lot of successful people, Oprah, because all of these people, they actually make vision board and they write down the thing that they want to achieve and they have achieved it. So we don't want to be the one that operate in circles and believe that we can just go on and not making plans and seeing them realized in our life. I remember when Judion came last year and she actually pushed us into a new mindset and trust me, it was such a great year for me in my mindset towards that. So if you have not done a vision board, for those persons who weren't here in December, it's still a good time for you to sit down, meditate upon your life, look at the different things that you want to achieve, write them down, assess yourself, and look, and when writing on your vision board, some of the things that we shared that is writing on the vision board, make sure it is time bound, put a time to it. Because it makes sense you write it down and there's no time attached to when it is that you're going to achieve in that goal. Put a timeline to it. We talk about how you can adjust your lifestyle. Because if it is that, for example, you want to buy a house, you can't have a spendthrift lifestyle. You can't just be going out and spending on different things that don't relate it to house. The first thing you need to be doing is start saving and cutting back on things that you may not be necessary or maybe a need. I want so that you can save toward that. Also, you have to be making the different adjustments in your life in order to do a vision board. So again, it is not too late to start a vision board or to make plans for your life. So that was our December episode. Anybody want to share? Anybody on who was in here that want to share on their vision board?
Nadisha said she shared in the chat that she won't be able to share verbally, but she said the experience was awesome. That much she shared. The experience was awesome.
That's good. Good to hear that. Anybody else? Or you may not, well, you probably weren't at our vision board party, but you make a vision board. How is it for you? All right, so we'll hear from you later on. But of course, again, it's always good to make the vision board, write it down and see the things that, sorry, see the things achieved in your life. All right, so again, tonight, we don't want to be unduly late. So we want to jump right into a few things that we have planned for you tonight. So Nikki, what are your thoughts for tonight? We're talking a lot.
I was giving you, I'm listening to you, still learning from you. Going back to the vision board, I did my vision board virtually. I did one last year, actually learned to do one using Canva. Some things I don't want to share. Just have to flash you, but having it on my cell phone, and because I use the cell phone so often, when I'm at work, I'm seeing it. And it has been a constant reminder for me to say, are you on target? And then along with the vision board, this statement has been something that I ask myself constantly. Are you keeping the promises that you have made to yourself? Are you keeping it? Are you keeping your word to yourself? So when I do that and I look at my vision board, like drinking some more water, I was like, okay. It's time to swap out the juice and take some more water in, because I put something as simple as drinking water on it, because that is also crucial for our health, and I put those things down. So I'm constantly looking at the water bottles here, and I said, did you drink enough water today, or were you just sipping on?
The amount you drink?
Well, actually, I do have a bottle that has the ounce measurement, so I use that. In addition to that, I drink the water bottles outside of that. So that kind of keeps me on track. But there are times when I just want some juice. So I might drink a little bit more juice than the water.
I suppose it's okay to maybe have like a cheat day or stuff. I don't want to fully deprive yourself, because if it is that you decide to indulge, you're gonna just be led away. So you can have a day when you just decide about manageable.
That's true. That's something to think about. You know these things, but sometimes, because when you're dealing with yourself, I guess you add too much pressure on yourself, So, but for me, the vision board has definitely been a reminder. What has been very crucial for me this year with my vision board is that I put months on it. I assign a month to it. I assign my timeline to it. So that kind of put me into perspective, like, are you working towards it? Certain things, as I said, asking myself a question. Are you keeping the promises that you have made to yourself? Are you keeping it to your, making sure that they're coming through?
Yeah, because one thing about vision board, Nikki, is it's like you're holding yourself accountable when you write it down. Because when a thought just come and go, it just come and that's it. But when you write it down, you're making yourself accountable. That's when you look and you see it don't happen, you feel some kind of way that day pass and this don't happen, and it kind of pulls you into action to want to ensure you do it.
That's so true. That is so true. I was just there is a comment in the chat. I think it's from the Kamisha Tashel group. So they commented, it was a great night doing the vision board. One particular thing that was on my vision board, everywhere I go, it said one particular thing that was on her vision board. Everywhere I go, she sees it. So I'm claiming the thing in Jesus's name. Also, another thing on my vision board, my cousin dreamt about it the other night, which she shared with me, and I was excited to know I had it on my vision board, and she actually dreamt about it. She said, me just a buzz prayer on it. That's right. You activate it with the prayer.
Yep.
Speak it. Declare a thing, and light will shine on it. That's also key.
Definitely. All right. So keep the comments going. Remember, Trenders it's our show. And we want to hear from you. So feel free to make your comments in the chat, talk to us so that we can know how it is that you are enjoying the show, and whatever comments you are, questions, we're here to answer them for as well. So please ensure that you make your comments in the chat. We pause and we share them in between. All right. So for you trenders, let me know who are here with me live and those that are online. Are you inspired by motivational quotes? Are you one of the persons who will, have a quote a day or a quote a week, or quotes where it kind of pulls you into action or wanting you to become? Are you that kind of person? Are you, Nikki?
I love quotes. So yes, I am that person.
Yeah, so there are persons that will write quotes. Probably you will see people sharing quotes on thing. One thing about quotes, sometimes the people share them on the WhatsApp and those social media, but sometimes you want a person literally before you even share them, if you actually read it and understand what it says and do what it says, activate it, literally activate the quote. Because sometimes it seems nice and okay, but for me, if I'm gonna post a quote, it have to mean something to me. It has to mean something. Somebody want to share something? Go ahead, Nana.
Right. So for me, quotes come to how I'm feeling. So I do it on a mood thing. So if I'm feeling happy, I share a happy quote. If I'm sad, I'm gonna share a sad quote. So that's for me. So I only use quotes when I'm in the mood.
But I've had like an experience, just piggybacking from what Anna said. I've had an experience where I was feeling unhappy at work, and I shared, and I was in a position where I could share it with the whole staff. So I shared a positive quote to help to the staff. And from doing that, it helped to cheer me up. And a few other people said, thank you so much for that. I needed that. And so I think that's how I use quotes. I kind of look, so if I'm not feeling up to it, I look for a quote that is going to get me out of that feeling. That's how
So there are two things to that. So you use quote to get you out of a situation. But another thing is that, as what Anna said, some persons share the quote because sometimes I see something that person posts and sometimes you get an opportunity to share in it. Because when you see something, you say, boy, something must be happening to this person.
That's what if I can't talk about it, I share that quote.
So the quote is a means of sharing things that you don't want to talk about. And maybe by you reaching out to the person, you may be able to pray with them or just to maybe add an encouragement to them. So it can go two ways. So but it's a good way, as I mentioned, Nikki, that you use quote just to change your situation, which is good. Now we have a few quotes I want to share with you that I don't know, you're gonna have them on the screen, Nikki?
Yes, I'm gonna post them.
So here is the first one that I have. You can share your thoughts and them in the chat as well. This one is from Eleanor Roosevelt. It says, with the new day comes new strength and new thoughts. So it said, with the new day comes new strength and new thoughts. So, I mean, each new day gives you an opportunity for newness. I mean, it gives you an opportunity to just forget about the old and just welcome a new day. So that's what quote says. All right, so first we're not going to be outdone our guest. We'll talk about her in a few minutes. But she also has a book that is called Conscious Quotes, and you people need to go online and order that book because it's amazing. Now, she says that a negative attitude will let you walk into a blissful place and see only chaos. This one is powerful.
That one is powerful.
As we're making the vision, we're planning, and tonight we're going to activate 2023. For those persons who have joined us after the welcome for Trending with Shella for season 2, episode number 9. Thank you for joining those who are in my live audience. Give it up for my live audience. And for those who are online Zoom, thank you so much for being a part of Trending with Shella. Now tonight, I have a powerhouse with us. And I am so extra happy, Nikki, to call her cousin, amazing cousin. Now, of course, you can see how beautiful she is. And it's not just on the outside because it's shining from inside. So
That's right.
she goes by so many titles that I don't want to overbear you tonight because I want you to hear for yourself. I know sometimes we have this long strip of thing behind our name, Nikki. And when you start to drop asleep and wonder, no, Judion is a mindset coach. Let me tell you, she's a mindset coach. So if your mind need to be set, she can set it right for you.
I think
right?
so.
So we actually have a book on that I want her to tell you about her book because I don't remember all of them, but I know she have Beautiful Mind. I think that's one of her first book. Conscious Quotes. What's the name for kids again? She has so many other ones that forgive me for not remembering all of them, but she's a coach, she's an author, she's a motivational speaker, she's a powerful woman of God, she's a mother, and by, as you can see, of course, we're cousins.
Exceptional ladies.
I'm delighted to have you, Judy. And now my team, since you have activated us last year, my team would have nobody else as our guest for tonight. Everybody said Judion, and even when the odds were against us even having a show tonight, everybody said we have to have Judion. We can't go through 2023 if we don't have Judion. So Judion, that is how much, and by the look of persons who I've seen online who jump on, I know because they want to hear you because you are here. So thank you so much for responding to the call. I know it's late night for you in England. I want to get early, but so powerful to have you tonight. Now, last year, last year, this time you were here, and our topic last year was reset for a new mindset. New year, old me. Now we walk into 2022 in a new year with old self and expecting that we're gonna have dreams being accomplished, plans and goals. But you set us straight, Judion, and said, no. That can't happen. You have to have a good mindset in order for us to achieve. And Nikki, I want you to tell us your best moment from Judion last year. But one of the things that I remember and that stood with me and I've activated and helped me to make maybe last year one of my best year, achieving all of what I achieved, is that you said, when we want to achieve our goals, we should see ourselves in it, reaching there. I said we should sail right to the top, to wherever you want to go, right ahead, and just start making ourselves backwards. So I said, when you said that, I was saying, how is that? But when you expound on it, I said, wow, this is powerful. Because if we don't see ourselves there, the journey, and because when we get there, we are excited about what's there, wanting to be there. And it pushed us and it ignited the passion within us to want to get there. So by any means, we would want to get there because of what we see there, what to achieve. And that was so powerful for me. You told us that our mind is so powerful. And if it is that our mind we don't channel our mind right, or ensuring that our mind are clear and transformed, then we're not going to be achieving, because whatever our mind tells us, and that is it, that our mind is such that it will break us or make us or break us. And we were really, really challenged last year by your saying, and we appreciate you being with us tonight again. Nikki, what's your best from last year?
I'm going to have to sound like a scratch record, because that's the same quote that stood out to me.
That was powerful.
And we spoke about it throughout the year too. We had a conversation about that. Having that, she said, that 5-year goal, if it is that you see yourself in the car, I mean, if you want a car, see yourself in the car. And that was profound because, it's something that you would hear, that if it is that you want, let's say you want to be, for me, let's say I want to be a professor. I have to see myself, I have to dress like a professor, I have to talk like a professor, I have to walk like a professor. I have to get there, right, Julia? Right? So you have to project yourself, therefore, and assume it, take on the identity. And I think it became a little more profound for me just the other day when Jaden, she was doing a tryout for tennis. And I was there, being the supportive mom. and I was helping her fetching the ball when she, shot the ball, and I was just grabbing and throwing it back and whatnot. And in my mind, I said, I'm not an athlete. And I said, ooh, we're gonna fix that, because you can't say that now.
Right, right.
Because that's the thing I was trying to use as my crutch. I'm not an athlete. Yes, you are an athlete. You better get it together. You are an athlete. So that came true for me too. Because if I am going to put on vision board that I want to exercise X amount of, I won't talk loud. How many times of the week, I have to see myself as an athlete, because if I don't, I'm just going to do what I've done before, not exercise, just to say. But seeing yourself ahead, whatever you have the vision, see yourself in it, owning it, taking it on. That has made an impact based on what Judion has. And she said a lot, but that one really stood out. And as I've said, we have even spoken about it over the time period that we met, and we talked about, different episodes.
Yeah, I think the other one I remember is that she said that we can't always remember follow up the generational path. Sometimes we're going to be doing stuff that no one has done it before, and we have to create our own path. And she mentioned about sometimes there's no table, there's no people that take a seat at the table. Sometimes there's no seat or no table, but you have to really create your own and see yourself there so that others too may follow, because you have to create your own impact that others may see. And that to me was another powerful moment. But look here, we're not going to talk it out tonight. She's here tonight, and we're going to activate your 2020.
Right.
Judion. All right, so Judion.
Yes.
When you hear about Activate 2023, what was your first thought?
Action mode. The moment that you're activate, I'm like, okay, lights, camera, action. So action mode was the first thing that came to my mind. The fact that, okay, we have our dreams. You mentioned about the vision board, that you've created. And it's one thing to put it all out, put it on a vision board, write it in your planner, but it doesn't stop there. There have to become a time where you activate all your plans, all your vision. And so Activate 2023 is action mode.
Putting the plan into action. Thank you so much for that. So the topic tonight is Activate 2023, reposition the mind to fight and not fear. Because one of the first things that cripples our plan is fear. And sometimes we don't even make the plan. First of all, we don't make the plan because the first thing we just get fearful. And instead of fighting, we become fearful. But if I want to ask you though, what does success looks like for you?
Success looks like for me, in all honesty, I don't even know what success looks like. I only know what success feels like. I don't know what it looks like, because sometimes we envision this thing to say, okay, when I get married, that's success for me. When I have a car, that's success. When I achieve a degree, that's success. But for me personally, what success feels like for me is fulfillment. Doing that thing that I'm passionate about, accomplishing that burning desire that I have within me, that vision that I envision, to see it through the end and come to that place of accomplishment, that is success for me. And having said that, success means different things to different people. And we have to measure success by our own standard. If somebody come to me and say, oh, I've accomplished a degree, I'm successful. Well done, good on you. You have to measure it by your own standard. If I say to you that I write a book, and you say to me, how is it doing? I'm like, you know what? Get a few sales, not the amount that I desire, but I feel fulfilled. That is success. Success is not based on the amount of sales that I get for that book. Success for me is feeling that that's a burning desire for me. It was a burning desire, and I see it through to the end. So fulfillment, that's success for me.
I mean, I asked because, and you said it in your response, that success means different things for different people. Because as we talk about activating and we look at what it is that makes us feel successful or what it is that we want to be successful in. And sometimes we look over the counter, over the fence, and we want to achieve what other persons want because in your eyes, that seems like success. And you want to look on what they are heading for and you feel like this is what. And sometimes people actually put a face to success to say, okay, then you have to have a nice house on the hill. You have to drive a nice car. You have to have a certain level of degree. And for them, that's what success is all about. And we don't look in our own mirror and look at ourselves to see what it is that I want to achieve, what makes me fulfilled, and then seek to write my vision or plant my vision around that. So that's the reason why I ask, because I'm saying that people here may have different life and my surrounding, my background, my situation may be different from yours.
You are absolutely spot on. You know, to measure your own success by somebody else's standard is very detrimental, and it's detrimental to your own pursuit, you know, because sometimes somebody else's achievement of success may be your foundation. You know, you may decide like, oh, she achieved a car, you know, I want to have a car. What if God purpose you to own a jet, a private jet, you know? And so sometimes by measuring on other merits, you limit yourself. You know, and as you quite rightfully say, very, very spot on to say that, you know, we have different background, we have different support system. And so we would end up in a tireless pursuit, trying to measure our success based on other people's success. It's a very, very dangerous place to be. And I can put my hand up to say, I've been there. I see people achieving stuff and I'm thinking, like, I want that. You know, why can't I achieve that? But that wasn't a part of my plans. Well, my ultimate plan, you know, the little ones to say, okay, she's driving, I want to drive. She's married, I want to get married. You know, she owned a business, I want to own a business. That is very, very dangerous. We have to be mindful that we are created differently. We should have different dreams. We should have different vision. You know, God entrusts us on different pathways.
Right. And that is absolutely true, because of course we are on different paths and different our journey. But one of the reasons why I ask is that as we look at activating 2023, we want to redefine our own life, because I don't know I think it was a quote I've seen somewhere along the line that says, you are busy living somebody else's life and leaving your own unoccupied. So you're planting and wanting to be somebody else, and you are stifling your own future by wanting to be somebody else. And we do that all the time because success looks good over there.
Yes.
But for you, it doesn't look that way.
Yes,
go ahead, Nikki.
absolutely.
I'm definitely in agreement with that, because, you know, as an educator, it's also key for me to not look at my neighbor unless I have an objective to look at my neighbor. Let's say I notice that my neighbor is doing something and I can learn from it. Yes, I look at that and I can learn from it, because otherwise I'll be in a trap of, okay, I see what they're doing, I'm going to try it. But in actuality, I'm actually pushing aside my personality, my trait, the quality that I bring to the table to be like them. So as an educator, I have to be careful with that too, because, you know, my kids will learn from me. The babies that I have in front of me, they're there for me to share what I know is best for them. And if I see someone else do something and I say, okay, maybe I can apply it in my way, you know, in my way, then I do apply it. Because sometimes, again, it can be a case where you're looking at someone else, like Judion said, you can try to compare yourself to another person to your own detriment. And that's something that you don't want. You don't want to lose yourself in pursuit of success, or in pursuit of something higher than what you want.
Definitely. Friends, remember, you can keep the chat active. Let us know what success looks like in your own eyes as we, you know, join in the conversation. Go ahead, Judion.
Yes, can I just say, it's good to admire. It's dangerous to imitate. You know, it's so good to see somebody doing good and you're like, I wonder what tools they use. You know, I wonder, you know, what their mindset like. I wonder, you know, so it's very, very good to admire people who are doing great and to say, you know, I would love to do that. And maybe I can use that strategy. Maybe that would work for me. When it comes to you want to imitate every single thing. You try to train yourself to speak like them, to walk like them, everything like them, and that's the
copycat
of your uniqueness,
Yes.
So with that now, you would have to suppress everything that is unique about you so you can imitate them. And that is very, very dangerous. You cannot afford to suppress your own uniqueness. Whatever is authentic about you, that is your strong point. So the moment you suppress that to imitate somebody else, that's a detriment to your own self.
Yes, I agree.
I totally agree with that one. And that's what, the opportunity or the Trending with Shella is about, that we can share our experience so we can encourage and not necessarily to imitate or want to be like somebody else. Judion, and you are the kind of person or the author, speaker that you're born inspired.
That's right.
When I read your quotes, they're so powerful,
They are
potent, that it is coming from a special place. Like you're born inspired. But is there anything that inspires you? Anything else apart from being born inspired?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't born inspired at all. And maybe, I'm going to kind of take that back a little bit. Maybe that was the case, but somewhere along the journey, I became inspired because life happens. And when life happens, it disrupts your flow, So maybe God had it in mind for me to be born inspired, but there were moments when I was really, really uninspired. Now, my son, Raymar inspired me so much. It's unbelievable. At the age of 9 years old, is my main motivator. Raymar, I think it was 2 years ago when he was 7, Raymar said to me that, Mom, you are not just a speaker, you are an extraordinary speaker. And I'm like, what did you say? He said to me that you're not just a speaker, you're an extraordinary speaker. And I was at that place where I was struggling. I keep hearing in my spirit, the world is waiting to hear your voice. And I'm saying to God, like, what do I have to say? I don't got nothing to say. And I keep on hearing the world is waiting to hear your voice. But I had this fear of speaking publicly because, coming under judgment and people thinking, who does she think she is? What she's saying don't make sense. I was battling with this speaking thing. So when I heard Raymar said that, I said, you know what, son, you said it, I believe it. And I'm going to start thinking that way, speaking that way, like I'm an extraordinary speaker. 2 months ago, he came into my room and he said to me, Mom, do you have a small business? And I'm like, yes, I do have a small business. He said, no, you have a big business. You have to be careful he said to me that you have to be careful what you release in the atmosphere. Because if you say your business is small, it's going to remain small. I'm like, mighty God of Daniel. I'm like, God, you are speaking, and straight away it changed my train of thought. And it's not that I don't have the dream for my business to grow and expand, but in its present state, I'm saying, yeah, I do have a small business, but he taught me otherwise, and so Raymar inspired me so much. And to know that both my kids, they're looking up to me. They have an expectation, based on how I speak, based on the things that I profess, based on the way that I encourage them. They have an expectation of me, and I cannot afford to let them down. And more so, God, everything that he has entrusted in me, God, he wants a return. The Bible said, to whom much is given, much is required. And when I look at the ability and the gift that God has given me, it's my due diligence, my responsibility to make sure that I manifest and I birth every ounce of thing that he placed on the inside of me. And that is my inspiration on a day-to-day basis.
Wow. You have a prophet.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, I believe, yes.
And you said he's 9?
He's 9, yes.
That's amazing. I mean, there is so much to unpack from just him coming up to you and speaking like that in a bold and forward way. And he's asking you, do you have a small business? Okay. He wants to hear your response.
Exactly.
He wants to hear what words will come. And Mom, you're an extraordinary speaker. And 7.
And can I just say, my speaking changed from that very moment. Trust me, I started to speak differently immediately. I'm like, my son said it, I am that. He said it, I am that.
And that speaks to the quote that you gave us last year, to see yourself. Say, if 5 years from now, you said that we need to, your recommendation was 5 years from now, you want to do this. Already assume that you're there.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's something said earlier, it says you have to believe in yourself. So I believe sometimes it's not that you don't believe in yourself, or maybe God wouldn't have deposited in you and you actually know that God is saying this to you. But sometimes you just want to hear it, and when you hear it, it's actually activate something in you that you need to become, or you need to take it to action. So of course it is in you to be extraordinary. But him speaking to being is almost like activating or putting the ignition to say, yes, you have to begin to walk like this, or talk like this, or do this, or become this. So it's very important that sometimes others around you can be your cheerleader or your motivator to activate that which is within you already, which you know, but it's a matter of you just walking into it.
Absolutely. The confirmation is necessary at times. But on the flip side of that, you know, what if he came into the room and said to me that, Mom, you're not a good speaker. Mom, I think you should do something else, you know, because you're not a good speaker. And definitely for me, it would be a downer. I would think like, if my very own son said that to me, then maybe it's true, you know. And so we have to be mindful what we tell ourselves, and we have to be mindful what we receive from others as well.
And then you said something earlier about the approval, right? We don't have to wait on the approval of others. And in addition to that, you know, this is something that I talk with my sisters with. We're always talking about our upbringing, because we talked about our environment. And sometimes your environment may have actually encouraged you to listen to what someone else says. Take the opinion, just run with it. Someone, you know, they said it, it's gospel, receive it. But in fact, you have to within yourself then say, I think I need to put myself and my idea forward. You know, I'm happy that your son blessed you with positive words. You know, but what if, as you said, what if he came in and said the opposite? But you know that, you had God inclination, there was an inclination from the Lord that your voice is needed out there.
Right.
You know, your voice is needed, and you're kind of sitting on it, you know. You're kind of sitting on it.
Sometimes, you know, I would know that it's time, but because it's the fear of the unknown, or don't want it, or questioning whether or not what we should step out, we sit there and just, you know, kind of dancing around it. But as soon as he speaks, you know that, yes, I need to move. It's time to move.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, we have to be careful how we hold people in high esteem, to the extent where we see them as experts in every areas. For example, you know, like you have maybe your pastor, maybe your pastor have never opened a business, and here you go, because you have him in such high esteem, you go and say, sir, you know, I'm thinking about doing this and thing. What advice would he be able to give you? What credible advice? He would only be able to advise you to some extent, you know, and then for you to take his word as gospel, like, okay, he said it, I believe it, you know. So sometimes we have to look for people who are in the area where we desire to be, people who have already done it, you know, and seek their advice, not their approval, only their advice. We don't have to like think of it to say, okay, they say that, so it's a definite no. We seek advice, we don't seek orders. We take order only from God. So I take advice from people, but we have to be mindful who we go to for advice, and how, because we hold people in high esteem, then we think like everything, you know, everything that come out their mouth is spot on, and they are expert in every areas. That's not the case.
And you said something earlier again, that when we approach someone for an advice, or based on how we view them, you know, it depends on their mood. What if their mood is not
right?
Let's say someone upset them that morning, and you come with your cheerful self wanting advice. You may not get the response that you want at the time. And we don't know if they'll be big enough to say, I apologize, I didn't give you the right advice, but you may get something that crush your spirit. And
Exactly.
then you just bury that dream or that idea altogether.
Yeah, because people, we're human beings. Just imagine somebody, their business just failed. And here you go with your chirpy self, like, I have this business idea, and it's so good or whatever. What moods are they going to be to receive your good news? It's not everybody is emotionally intelligent to put their own feelings aside and accommodate you for where you are. Some people, like, they're not here for it. And some will deliberately advise you wrong, because of where they are.
You have to be in tune to know that. This is powerful. Trenders, let us hear from you in the chat. Please ensure that you leave your comment. If you have questions, put them there. We'll take them in a few minutes. Now, Judion, as we activate 2023, fear is such, let me say, a powerful force, because of course it can cripples us. A lot of persons, the first thing that, I think I remember, Pastor talking about a young man who there's an opportunity for him to get some, I think it was some
to further studies. I think it was scholarships.
To further studies. He said that, and he would have should have applied, and then he would have gotten it. He says that he's not gonna apply because he's fearful that he won't get accepted.
Wow.
And he did not apply.
Wow.
And it was almost a sure situation, but because it's his fear of hearing a no, he didn't apply. So that's one of the biggest things that will cause the vision board that we write or the plans that we put in place not to activate. Talk to us about that.
Fear. So when it comes to fear, it's the feeling of not feeling safe. That young man fear being rejected. And not everybody can cope with being rejected based on what they tell themselves. Because being rejected, some people tell themselves, like, I'm not good enough, right? They don't look on it on the flip side to say, maybe I'm not good enough for that position, or maybe the person just don't see, what I can potentially bring to the table. Maybe the person feels threatened by me, and as a result, they rejected me. So it's the way how we see things, that determine how we experience whatever happened, so fear is such a major thing, and fear cripple us in great intensity when it comes to fear, fearing the unknown, fearing the uncertain, and it's a matter to think that we have this grand vision. And it's like, how are we going to do this? Am I going to get enough support? Are people going to think that I'm way out of my league? We start to think about what people are going to think about us, right? How are we going to feel if it doesn't work? People are going to think like, oh, you start a business and it failed. All these things come into play when it comes to fear. Now, for me, I have adopted new fears. I'm done with the old ones. I'm done with the ones that limit me, the ones that cripple me. Now, my new fear is fear of not maximizing my potential. It's fear of not fulfilling my purpose. It's fear of transitioning to the other side with something that God has entrusted me with for the nation or the generation to come. Just imagine in your state of uniqueness. Just imagine that no one can be a great substitute of you. Whatever you carry, whatever you possess, whatever God has entrusted in you with your unique ability, with the way you see things, with your behavior, with your experience, only you can deliver that thing. Now, you just imagine, because of fear, it hinder you from manifesting that thing. And then you transition to the other side where that thing have no use. Right. You just imagine if God entrusted you to go dig a well, and he only want you to dig the well. The next person was supposed to bring the water and pour into the well. Now, if you don't dig that well, how would the person bring the water? What are they going to pour the water into? So we have to understand that what we carry is not only for us, right? Purpose is not only for us. It's for the generation to come. It's for others. It's like a domino effect, right? Because we are created to work as a unit. You have your part, I have my part. And if I fail to do my part, it may affect the other person that was supposed to do their part as well. And so sometimes with fear, we have to see fear differently. We have to find out, since we cannot eliminate it, it's always there. Try to see it through a new lens, try to adopt some new fears and do away with the old one. So the new one override the old fear. So that's how I look at things differently now.
Wow. So Nikki,
can we give her some mics and let her drop them?
No, Nikki, you're holding me back now. Because hear what it says, when you are fearful, you're holding me back because you are part of my journey. So if you don't do your part, you're holding me back. So that's powerful that we don't understand how we are holding each other back because we are not stepping out to do what we're doing. The analogy of digging the well, where the water going to go if there's no hole. So we have to ensure that we play our part so that others can step into their purpose, their journey. That is powerful. From Benjamin Franklin that says, I didn't fail the test. I just found 100 ways to do it wrong.
Absolutely.
One might have been not studying. Well, you know what? I mean, this discussion is so ripe. It's so perfect for the start of 2023. At the start of the year, just talking to different people, I've heard them say, this is the prophetic word I've heard, but I know we can receive the word and then know fear, as we have said, fear kicks in, cripples you, paralyzes you. It doesn't allow you to be great. And there's this one thing that I constantly hear when I listen to those motivational videos. I hear Oprah say that I want to live the highest expression of myself. I'm like, what she mean by bleep highest expression of herself? To the point where I know what that means for me. So that's what I go in at the start of the school, the start of the year or a start of a week. I said, I'm going to live my highest expression of myself, for my students. So I know what that means for me now. She knows, those levels, foundation, one step, Jacob ladder, one step at a time, but I want, as Judion said, create new fears. And I thought about how profound that was, creating new fears.
Fear, yeah.
I'm not where Judion is. I'm just going to say that. But I will say that that's an interesting thought. It tells me that I should not settle with those long time boring something that people tell along, you're just clinging to. The word of the day for me today is forget the former things. I am doing something new. And I saw it in my 2 different devotional. I said, that is a word for me this morning. Yeah. Forget the former things. And Julian said, create new fears, right? New things that's going to shock you, that you're going to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes. Look at yourself and the uniqueness that you possess, into knowing that if you are chosen to do something and you don't do it, they can never ever find a substitute who will do it exactly the way that God ordained you to do it. And that's my fear of not maximizing my potential. Can you just imagine at the end of your life journey, and God should do a recap and show you all the things you were supposed to do. And as a result of you doing this, that would have happened, and then that would have happened. See yourself hindering a generation. See yourself hindering a nation. See yourself hindering your children, your grandchildren. Like, it's just, that's my new fear. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about my grandchildren. I'm thinking about my great-grandchildren. If I don't do certain things, it's going to be the case where they think it cannot be done. So when I make that bold move, that bold step, my children are going to think mommy did it. My grandchildren are going to think grandma did it. My great-grandchildren are going to think great-grandma did it. And that is a responsibility we have to take on our shoulder. We are too unique to bring our gifts and our talents to the grave. Too unique. And for too long, we have held ourselves back, right? And a lot of us are way beyond our schedule that God ordained for us. There are so many dreams and vision that was supposed to happen last year or the year before. And this year, we have to take the bull by the horn and we have to activate all those dreams. Some of us don't even need new dreams. All we have to do is to go back for the old ones, the ones that we failed. The ones we failed to activate, go back for them. It's not because those dreams failed. You failed to activate them. And so we have to go back for those old dreams and get into activation mode and care less what other people think. It's about fulfillment that comes from the inside of you. Because at the end of the day, regret is the worst thing that you could have to contend with at the end of your lifespan. When you sit down and you see young people making, some old people, you know, they are so miserable. Why? Because they look at some young people doing things that they were supposed to do or they could have done. You know, and make them so guilt and regret, it will send you to an early grave. Send you to an early grave. And I don't want to experience regret. And so I'm birthing everything. I couldn't care less. I have this thing about me. I don't know if it's good or bad, but the moment I accomplish something, I don't like sit down to oh, I've accomplished that. Yeah. I'm not cheering for 3, 4, 5, 10 days. I'm on to the next. You know, time is of the essence. I don't have forever here. And every ounce of passion and burning desire, I'm birthing them. 2023, I'm having babies right, left, and center. I'm just birthing them.
It's a triplets and the work. Wow.
I'm just birthing them. And I remember Judion, some time ago we were talking and you made me very uncomfortable when you said that you're gonna die empty. And that thought stuck with me for such a long time. And I think, you're going to die empty. Because so many persons die with so much potential, so many things that stuff would have done and procrastinated, fearful about. And
good sense, but
and all of those
finish.
How much my platform is bigger than my family and telling me I'm gonna do all of this, and I'm saying Judion, just stop it. But when you said die empty, that stuck with me and makes me uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Why? Because if I mentioned if you so much was given to me, I must give back a return on that. And so yeah, of course fear will come, but you said let new fear comes, so that I will step out and do that which I want to do. Because it doesn't make sense you really do that and then you live your life unfulfilled and you affect a whole generation because you were fearful to move on. So I really powerful.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And for me, one of my fear was like, people not going to support you. And I've come to the realization that I am in a world with over 7.88 billion people. How dare me limit myself to just my close friends and family, expecting that they should be the one. Maybe they're not my audience at the end of the day. So sometimes, our thoughts, or how we see things limits us. We have to step out and put ourselves out there. Those who are supposed to be a part of it, they're going to find us. But if we don't put ourselves out there, how are they going to find us? Is that we're just in a little confinement and begging friends to support us, begging family to support us? You could have been on this program tonight and only 5 people present. Would that mean that you failed? By no means. Because if you influence the 5 people who are present, they could be the ones who are called to nation. You may be called to one person, and that one person is called to nation. Now, how dare, because you think that you want this grand audience that you weren't called for, because guess what? Maybe God have it to be that, okay, I want you to spend time with these 5 people so you can spend effective and productive time with them. And the moment that you impart on these people, they're going to go forth to impart on a nation. So sometimes we have to be mindful. Not everybody is called to the nation. And so, whatever comes, had it to believe that my calling is this, as opposed to looking at the person who is called to the nation. Right. Every one of us part is very important, very, very fundamental.
Yeah, sometimes we read the numbers wrong and it cripples our ability to push.
Yes,
absolutely. Now, Judion, it can't be business as usual if it is that we really want to be successful. And I think last year I mentioned about New Year and old me. I know that there are some bad habits. There are some things that we need to drop. Sometimes it's friends, and sometimes it's our own insecurity that we need to drop in order for us to activate our 2023 in a way that meaningful that we can go. What are some of the the bad habits that we need to drop, or tell us some of the things that you practice that would have kept you on a path to success.
Okay, so one of the things for me, I had to assess my circle, my friends, because we have to be mindful that our circle of friendship is not a cage. Because sometimes we're in a circle of friends and it's like we're in a cage. You know, there are barriers and we can't venture outside, because every time we want to make a step, then our friends thinking that's okay, well, subconsciously or consciously, you know, and sometimes it's not known to us, you know, they don't want us to go because they feel like we're leaving them behind. And so I had to assess my circle of friendship. You know, sometimes, you know, God is taking us places and we feel as if we have to bring everybody with us. So we start a business and we're thinking, I need to employ my cousin down the road because, you know, we grow up together. I have to employ my brother, have to employ my auntie. It's like a family thing, you know, and we're not thinking that, is this person credible or qualified for the job? You know, so sometimes we're going places and we want to bring everyone with us, and that's not the case, you know, because you know the thing that says that God knows the heart of people. You know, we don't know the heart of everybody. And sometimes from face value, we think that everybody is rooting for us. Everybody is cheering for us. But God knows that when you reach the top, this very person is going to try to pull you down. And so there have to be a shifting. So there have to be a shifting in our mindset in thinking that because we grew up with this person have to come along with me. Because I've been friends with this person have to come along with me. That cannot be the case. When there is a shift, God will move people out of the way because they're hindrance. Maybe at present they're not, but for where God is taking you, they will hinder you. And these are things that we have to have a different mindset in viewing these things. Another habit, I think, is thinking that success means that we have to abort everything else. You know, we have to neglect everything else. We have to neglect friendship, you know, relationships. We have to leave everything behind because we're on the pursuit, you know, of success. It's very important that we have a healthy life balance. You know, we take time out for different things, because success don't mean that you're going to work yourself to death. You're going to go to early grave in the pursuit of success. I tell myself, I'm not going to work, you know, I'm tirelessly because I want to earn all this money. And then when I get it, I have to use it to pay for my health. You know, that can't be the case. I want when the money comes, I'm in right standing, I'm in good health to go out there and spend my money. I don't want to be on my bed and send my son to go buy me a Gucci bag. I'm going to the store, you know, and I'm not walking with no stick. I'm walking nicely to the store with my money and go buy the things that I desire. And so we have to be mindful and set healthy boundaries and have a healthy balance in our pursuit to success. So when it comes to the habits of like, oh, I need to get up 4 o'clock, I'm going to start my day from 4 o'clock, and then you go to bed 2 a.m. and you get 2 hours sleep and you're at it again, that's not productive at all.
Oh, Trenders, are you enjoying the conversation? What are you saying? The persons in the live audience have been enjoying. It has been intense. I said they are very keen. If you drop a pin, you can hear it literally because you're listening intensive. What are they saying in the chat, Nikki?
Okay, we do have a few comments. Mavis shared the only person can keep us back is ourselves. Right? Elizabeth Barker shared, she said that amen to something that was said. And she said that she said great. So that's for the conversation. She thinks the conversation is great.
Or do you have a question for them?
I do. I'm going to post a question in the chat, but I'm also going to say it. Sophia Good says great gems. You know, the nuggets indeed are very fruitful for us. The question I want to pose for the audience is, what would you be doing if you were completely fearless? What would you be doing if you were completely fearless? We would like to know at least one idea. What would you be doing if you were completely fearless?
Tell us, what would you be doing? And I want to put this one at Judion. If you know, the Bible says, or you know, said that money answered all things. But how would you be spending your days, Judion, if money wasn't a problem?
Wow. Mm. Mm,
The
mm,
money,
mm.
no-
If
or you
money
would-
wasn't a problem. So I would get up in the morning, see my kids off to school. Then I would have a healthy breakfast, something I don't do. I would have a healthy breakfast every single morning. I would have a healthy breakfast. And then I would go back into bed, write for about maybe 3-4 hours. Then I would visit prison. I want to do prison ministry. I want to speak to young people, young girls and young guys in telling them like there is hope, you know, encourage them, motivate them. So when they do their time and come out, they can have a new mindset and see things differently and go on their pursuit for whatever they passion and desire. As well as I want to visit hospitals, you know, for people who don't get much visitors. I would like to visit them and just have, you know, fruitful conversation. As well as I would want to be on the phone with anybody who wants somebody to talk to. Anybody who's feeling low, you know, feeling like unmotivated. I want to be that listening ear. So yeah, those are things I would love to do if money wasn't an issue.
No, Nikki, you know, said it's very special, very special. You know, but I want to go on a cruise.
Oh my
God! I want to drive around in a big car. I just don't want
Oh wow! Is that what
I
you
was
wanted to
listening.
do?
I was listening to her response, and I said, "Those are excellent responses." But I don't know if I had one of those on my list. Oh, which, but you know, and I thought about it. If you, as she said, if money wasn't an issue, and she's a mindset coach, so not having to think about paying the bills, taking care of my family, I could really see her talking to people and coaching them throughout the day and knowing that she doesn't have to say, hey, the fee is XY after we have just
here's the bill. Here's the bill.
Yeah. So doing that is powerful. What are some things that I would do, you know, if money wasn't an issue? I would definitely still teach because I love teaching. I can't stay home. I don't think I would be staying home, you know, but I would invest some time, you know, and I would take my time, maybe take my time eating the breakfast, like she said, reading a book that I'd want to read, you know, talk to my family members, and then I would go out and do some work. Well, I'll probably still be in the field of education. So I'll work with the kids, you know, do something like that, and then come back home and maybe do a little shopping here and there, and then, you know, have some fun with it. And of course, I'd like to travel the world, all of that. That would be a part of it too.
But yeah, for me, I mean, it would have been a balance for me because, you know, there are something that I really would love to do in terms of service in the community and really fulfilling some passion. I mean, having not to be thinking about working because you want to do so much, but because you want to ensure that you're taking care of the bills, it comes in the way of you really exploring into other things. But it's good that we have passion, and passion outweigh money, so that when we have money, instead of seeing ourselves and our own need, we get an opportunity now to forget about us and to help those who we would be passionate about, or the thing that we're passionate about, and not thinking that, okay, then I want this, I want that, and keep on, you know, adding to our list. And there are people out there that we can impact or we can do. So it's good to have the passion to want to do even more than just, you know, just us alone. So I know that Judion would take some trips and stuff, but it's good. But she's sharing that the thing that she really would want to do outside of just having to think about money.
Absolutely, because on my way to the hospital, I'm going to stop at a shop, you know, and get me a bag, you know, and go and have nice lunch, you know, so those things are included. But when I look at life, you know, and see that life is so meaningful, you know, and so impactful, and we can make such amazing contribution, we have to be selfless, you know, we have to be selfless and give more of ourselves, be of more service to others, you know, than our own selfish pursuits, you know. And I think that's the most fulfilling thing. I think Abraham Maslow, a psychologist, he has a hierarchy of needs, and at the pinnacle of that one is self-actualization. And self-actualization is the ultimate fulfillment, and purpose, he stated, purpose is one of those things that help you to feel self-actualized.
Definitely. Because the thing that he said, that the needs are always climbing. So the more you get, the more you want. You always want more. Our trenders responding in the chat towards that question, Nikki.
Let me take a quick look. Not yet. I mean,
too intense for them to even touch the device.
I guess they're still thinking about some of the things that they would do if they were completely fearless.
I'm thinking about it myself.
Wow.
Because there would have been no limitation to doing something. I mean, no fear. But as I think there so while there's no limitation, and the thing that you want to do is step out boldly, because of course, some fears are not necessarily bad sometimes, because it kind of makes you prepared. It makes you want to be, do things better. It kind of makes you step into a more excellent mode and stuff like that. So it's good that there's a fearless thing, because the thing that you would probably not step into in a manner or in a particular time frame. There's no limited time. But to be absolutely fearless, I'm just trying to imagine, me just soaring without thinking about anything. I mean, that's supposed to be. All right, Anna has a question. Go ahead, Anna.
And you just spoke about like fear. It kind of encourages to do things better or want to do it. But is it fear or is it anxiety?
Anxiety or fear?
But sometimes when you're going to do something because you have, I don't know if it's fear or anxiety combined. But before you go and do what you have to do, you feel that there's a thing in your tummy or over your mind. So is it fear combined with anxiety or just anxiety? Or just fear?
What would that be, fear or anxiety?
I think with fear is, as I mentioned before, is the feeling of not feeling safe, so you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. So I think it's a blend of both, because you have the anxiety because you don't know how people are going to receive you. You don't know people's opinion, how they're going to think of you. And so it's not feeling safe. It's stepping outside of your comfort zone into the unknown, and not know what the outcome going to be. And so you're anxious, like, oh my God, I just want this over and done with. What are they going to say? What are they going to think? Am I going to get the reaction that I desire? And so, yeah. So fear is not to utter chaos per se. It's just feeling, you don't feel safe where you're going because it's not a familiar space.
Well, we have Mark is saying that he would love to hear from you. What would you do if you were complete? That's from Judion. To Judion, what would you do if you were completely fearless?
I would be traveling the world, speaking to thousands and thousands of people. I would grab that mic and I would get on that stage and I would empower, inspire, and motivate thousands of people.
Non-stop.
It's around the clock, moving from state to state to state. And having said that, I've heard that prophecy over my life countless of times, especially, well, the one that I keep on hearing in my spirit, like the world is waiting to hear your voice. And then people just prophesying, they're going to be going from state to state. And funny enough, my mom said to me, like, when you were young, you said that you're going to be a businesswoman and you're going to travel the world. And so,
Stuff.
That's purpose. Inevitable. It's inevitable. And so it's for me to come into alignment, what God has already ordained. And that's the thing. It's about alignment, So sometimes we think that, okay, I don't have this ability. I can't do that. God is not asking you whether or not you can do that. God is saying, move into alignment. You are already equipped. I've already approved you. Now get your mind around it. And funny enough, when it comes to our mind and our thoughts, it's things around us that influence that. Sometimes, our upbringing, sometimes, the things that people say to us interfere with what God say about us, and it's to come into alignment. The moment you feel that burning desire, anything that you're passionate about, I dare you to activate in 2023. And it's not to say, okay, I'm just going to go out there, but no, take it in small increments, small step, but make that first move. I dare you to make that first move. Work out the steps, the ladder, that you need to climb, and make the first, and do it without fear. Tell yourself, you know what? I'm intrigued. I want to see what this is going to be. what's going to be the result of this? Let me just step out and see, without the feeling of feeling that you're not capable. Just trust and believe that the untapped ability, they will emerge when it's time. But dare yourself, set yourself a dare, to step out there and make the first move.
Powerful. Now I want to ask you this, and let us share the last part of the topic for tonight. It says reposition our mind to fight and not fear. As a mindset coach, we want you to speak into us tonight, all our trainers online, myself. Tell us how important it is for us to reposition our mind in order for us to activate our 2023.
Seeing things differently. It's a mind experience in seeing things differently. Because when it comes to mindset, we know that it's the state of our mind. It is our mental attitude. And if we're mental attitude, if we're convinced that we're not capable, that we don't have the ability, then there is no movement. We are stagnant. We can't be in motion. So we have to have the right mental attitude. If we find ourselves not having the right mental attitude, if we find ourselves just being pessimistic, then we know that there's a thought pattern that we have to change. And there are effective ways in changing these thought patterns. Now, what we have to do is to find the root of that thought. If I feel like I'm not worthy of something, if I feel like I'm not good enough, and if I'm constantly feeling this kind of way, I want to know the origin of that thought. Did somebody say something to me when I was growing up? Did my mom say to me, oh, you will never amount to anything? Do my friends say to me, oh, you always get in low grades, you're going to work in McDonald's, you're going to do this? So find the root of that thought and uproot it. Tell yourself that I am indeed capable, and whatever I lack, I can pursue that. If I lack the education, I can pursue that. If I lack the skill, I can pursue that. We have to be intentional with our thoughts. And so we have to override the negative thoughts. We have to, get rid of them, find new thoughts. Tell yourself new things on a consistent basis, because when you do that, you are changing the brain waves that happening in your mind. We have to reprogram. We have to see things differently so we can experience things differently. So if there is something that you need to do and you find yourself always having a pessimistic view all the time, the moment somebody says something, you see the negative, then you know that that's a negative thought pattern. It's not only a thought, isolated thought, it's a pattern. So find the root of that thought. You have to find the root. I'm sorry, I was reading the comment. You have to find the root of that thought, and you have to uproot it. No longer accept it to be your truth. It is not your truth. You know what? Take your thought to court. I'm thinking this kind of way. Let me come up with the evidence. Let me see if there's evidence to support this thought. This thought said that I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. Show me your evidence. Oh, you're just not good enough. Well, you don't have enough evidence. I have a degree. I have experience. I'm good at what I do. So when you weigh them up, you realize that your thought don't have no substance. That negative thought don't have no substance. And the moment you find it don't have no substance, it has to go. You don't have a foot to stand on. You have to go. And so we have to reprogram our mind and see things differently, see ourselves differently. If it's because we're in a space where people talk to us negatively, then change your circle. Stop having those intake, move away from that diet. It's not a good diet for your mind. The Bible talk about the renewing of your mind. And when you're going to renew your mind, you have to seek the resources to renew your mind, whether it's reading book, whether it's going to speaking events, whether it's like a day you have motivational quotes a day. And you mentioned about your vision board and you say that it's not in plain sight every day. I like the fact that Nicole have hers on her phone, because what it does is that vision boards have to be in plain sight every single day, because you need that motivation. As human beings, we can become demotivated a lot. We can get up and we're just in different moods. Things are happening around us and we feel we're unmotivated. But when we have our vision board in plain sight, we are reminded that we are on a mission. And yes, we're feeling this way now, but it's not a permanent feeling. So guess what? I need to step out of this feeling, because I have things to do. You know, this feeling that I'm feeling, I can carry it with me throughout the entire day. There's a shift that needs to take place, because guess what? I look on my vision board and I see a Range Rover. How am I going to get that? Am I going to let my feelings interfere with me getting that Range Rover? By no means, you know. So vision board in plain sight is a constant reminder that you are on a mission, you're on a pursuit, and you cannot afford for the little distraction in life happenings, you know, to mess with your pursuit. And so when it comes to our thoughts and our mindset, our state of being, that predetermine how we respond to situation, it's priority. It is priority. If my mindset is going to determine how I respond to being somebody breaking my heart or somebody saying negative things about me, then I have to have my mindset in a rightful state. Yeah. My state of mind have to be good. Right. And if it can't be good overnight, I have to find ways and means to make it good. I have to read my Bible and see what God say about me. I have to read book and see, you know, some tips that I can, I can take on. I have to be in circle of friends, you know, that is helping me along the journey, encouraging me, as opposed to being around people who think that I'm not good enough, who think I'm pretending. Like, who do you think you are? As I mentioned, like, when you're going somewhere, dress accordingly, speak accordingly. And sometimes some people is going to find it hard to accept because they know who you used to be. Well, if you want to live in that place, you're going to live in there alone. You know, I'm going to have to leave you and step away from you, because who I am becoming at the end of the day, I don't want your past version of me to hinder that. So forgive me if I have to step away from you to step into a new environment where people are not used to me. So whatever I give to them, they accept that as me. Because sometimes the past version, people hold on to the past version of you because they refuse to accept your growth and your becoming. And sometimes we just have to step away. We can't let nobody hinder us in 2023. Going into activation mode, we can't afford for nobody to hinder us. We have children to inspire. We have other people, you know, to influence. So people with like small-minded people who are, they themselves, they're not doing things, and so they resent you from doing things. You can't afford for them to hold you back. So get your mindset in the right place. Get your state of mind into the right place. Do whatever it takes to get your mind to that place, because you activating your dreams and your vision is going to take a healthy and productive mindset, a growth mindset, a positive mindset.
Wow.
I'm done.
You
type in the chat that if you activated, say I am activated. Judion, I am activated. My 2023 is now in motion.
Yes, activate.
That's right. I love it. I love it. And you know what? I think when Judion was talking, you know, I thought about something too that I heard. And Mark asked us, Marshalla, what would you be doing if you were completely fearless? And he asked me too. So I said, I think based on what Judion was saying, you know, we have to get in motion, right? We can't allow our past to negatively affect our future. And that's a quote from a scripture, a prayer. But there was something else that I heard too, to add to the conversation. And the person said, you do not have to live your life on repeat. I was
like, cycle, patterns.
You don't have to live your life on repeat. You know how many things we do just out of habit?
Auto mode.
So it takes no effort. It just
that like Judion said, sometimes something happened and they want to hold you in your past self. And you are trying to emerge and they're just holding you onto your past self. And so as the thought came, we don't have to live our lives on repeat or based on what others are saying. We can create new, listen, you drop something, you know, create new fears.
I love that one as well, Nikki. Love it, love it, love it. Love it.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Powerful for me. Powerful.
Absolutely. I really, really love that topic, to be honest. Really, really love that topic. Fight the feeling of fear. You know, it's going to be there, but fight it, push through. You know, let fear push you. There is something amazing on the other side of fear. And I want to see it. I want to experience it. I want to behold it. Like I'm grabbing onto it. And so whatever fear is like, the blockage, I'm surpassing that, because I'm really intrigued in what's on the other side of fear. You know, so I'm 2023, I'm doing things. I'm stepping out in faith, not fear. You know, and all these like, the things that are holding me back at the end of the day, or was holding me back, no, they're losing their grip. They are losing their grip. And I say to you, be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself when you're assessing yourself. What is holding me back? Why am I fearful of this? You know, because we have, a lot of us have common fears. You know, fear of failing. Why would you fear failing at the end of the day? When you fail, you gain lessons, you know, so don't fear these things, you know, talk yourself out of it. You talk yourself into fear with all those thoughts, you know, that you're feeding on and you're digesting. Now talk yourself out of fear. As I advise you to do what I do for myself, find the new fear of not maximizing my potential, fear of not, you know, and birthing all the things that I'm entrusted with, fear of like, you know, transitioning and not influencing a nation or leaving a legacy behind or leaving my footprint in the sand. Those should be our fear, and not the other fears that are crippling us and holding us back.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Judion. Wow, that is powerful. Now, Judion, just before you go, I don't know if you have a last word you want to share with us, but I also, so before you do, I want you to also share with us your books that you have written, and tell us where we can get copies of your book, and just remind us of your social media handles so that our trenders can begin to follow you and they can order your book and be inspired by all your thoughts that you shared and even more.
Oh, thank you so much. So let me just grab a few journals that I've created.
In the meantime, are there any more comments in the chat, Nikki?
Well, we had Elizabeth sharing. She said I'm hearing today's message all over again. She added a point when Judion was sharing some ideas. She said, change your environment. Yeah. And that is crucial too, right? She also mentioned she's ready to activate. Then she shared Judges chapter 6-8 will actually, they are great scriptures to read to overcome fear, the story of Gideon. And then of course, she topped that off with, I am no longer a slave to fear. So Elizabeth has really been hitting, she has been fearless in her comments tonight.
So it's not double dose in one day.
That's right.
It really has to be activated and get on. Love that. God always in a way. Go ahead, Judion.
Okay, so my latest book is 90 Days of Enlightenment. While Life Happens, Fuel Your Soul. And I think this is such an ideal book because in our pursuit, life happens, right? Now, how do we overcome? How do we keep going forward? We fuel our soul, we fuel our mind, our will, and our emotion. Going through emotional distress, you know, can really shut us down and cripple us. But when we learn ways and means to overcome, we can continue our pursuit. Things happen and we tell in our mind, we think differently. You know, our mind is conditioned by the pain, but we need to see things through a different level, have a new perspective. And so 90 Days of Enlightenment is giving you a new perspective and new ways of seeing things. I also have 12 fundamental truths about forgiveness. Whatever you're holding on to is also holding you back. So if you're struggling with unforgiveness, this book is an ideal book. There are 12 fundamental truths. And the reason being is that there are a lot of misconception we tell ourselves when it comes to forgiveness. You know, oh, if I forgive that person, I have to reconcile. I don't believe that to be true. While God loves reconciliation, there are certain people when they're not in the position in their present state for us to reconcile with them. And so we may have to just love them from a distance for the time being. So this is 12 fundamental truths. I also have empowering quotes. It's a book of quotes that you can read, one per day. And all these are available on Amazon. My newfound love is creating journals. So this one, Dare to Become Extraordinary. This is a coloring book, where I have quotes in them that you can color the quotes. And this one says, I will not quit on myself. So you can color these quotes and color the pictures as well. I also have a Bible study journal, prayer and gratitude journal. So when you're doing your Bible study, you can record things. You can write your Bible verse, you can write important pointers, prayer points, because sometimes we pray the same prayers over and over and over again. Now, when we're doing Bible study, sometimes we hear some things and you're like, you know what, I need to pray about that. For example, if in the Bible study, you learn about salvation and people doubting their salvation, your prayer points would be, Lord, help me not to doubt my salvation. Help me to be without spots and blameless. So this is a very, very good journal for Bible study. I created, Marshall mentioned, write the vision, right? And this is the Bible verse at the back. Write the vision and make it plain. Right. And this is one of my journals that I've created. And so you have in it a daily planner and you will plan your day. Very, very important. I have this. It's a notebook for her. It's a beautiful, beautiful notebook that I created that, when the book is nice, you're inspired to write. I have so many notebooks here. So, yeah, so it's just a notebook for her. Also have this one, Melanin Princess Raised by a Melanin Queen. And this is a journal, a coloring book for girls, so they could do the little coloring in it. And I think the first one says, my melanin glows differently. So young girls are accepting themselves for who they are. I am a different shade of beautiful. So these are quotes to inspire little girls in accepting themselves for who they are. So there are quite a few more, but yeah, if you go on Amazon and if you put my name in, Judion Smith, you would see all my books come up, and then you can choose whatever you like. So thank you in advance, for all your support. And thank you for the opportunity for shameless plug.
I didn't make positive mindset. I think there's another one that you wrote for teens, and there are a few others, right?
There are a few others, yes.
So tell us your social media handle.
Okay, it's Judion_mindset coach for Instagram. So Judion_mindset coach.
Trying to just type it in the chat. And that's the same for Facebook, right?
Facebook is just Judion Smith for Facebook.
All right. Thank you again so much for being our first guest for 2023. We couldn't have had anybody else, because I know with you here, we're going to be just set for the year and we have been activated. And I would love that persons who are here would jump on your page and share their testimonies and share with you how they've been inspired by you and how much whatever you have activated in them, just share how you have impacted them on your social media page. So please go ahead and follow her on. You have a podcast as well, right?
Not yet, but on YouTube, if they put in Judion Smith on YouTube, then they will have access to some motivational gems on YouTube.
Right. So please go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel and also our social media handles so that you can have more of her thoughts and inspirational readings. All right, again, thank you everyone for tonight. It has been such a great night. We have one more thing. We have Wordwise coming up with to you in a few minutes. Auntie, you have really set some marks for us that we actually following after you. So thank you for being great to us as well. Thank you so much. Go ahead now, Nikki, with that Wordwise.
Trending with Shella presents Wordwise. The purpose of Wordwise is to leave a thought, word, or phrase with you that will resonate in your spirit, and we hope you activate it in your daily life. Now please, Get your notepad to receive the word wise of the week.
So if you have your notepad, the word for today is activate. And you've heard that word 1,000 times tonight, activate. Now, this quote comes from Laurel McClure, and it says, a critical key to achieving success lies in your ability to activate your potential to create the results you seek. Start by being aware of your self-sabotaging pattern. Start by being aware of your self-sabotaging pattern. Now, trenders, I believe that to activate is to invest in your future self today. It is to turn the keys to your journey mobile and to get the engine running. As what Lauren Mackler says in the quote, we have to be aware of our self-sabotaging pattern and be prepared to be uncomfortable to being uncomfortable. Take a leap of faith and jump off. Fight and not fear. As Judion said in a quote that I've seen her online, is that we should not let anyone determine our faith. Instead, we should rise above and conquer. What do you do? What do you have to do now tonight, trenders? Activate. Today is a day to emerge and activate. Invest in your future self now and activate your 2023. Again, thank you all so much for being a great, great audience. And thank you, Judion, for being our guest. Thank you for activating our 2023. And for you, I wish that God...
Thanks for joining to Trending with Shella. Joining to Trending with Shella.